In a small, peaceful town, lived a family that loved each other deeply. The family had 3 members, Arif, his wife Mina, and their 2 military-trained dogs, Bruno and Luna. Arif was a gentle man who worked at the local library, and Mina was a kind-hearted woman who had recently returned home after serving in the military. Their life was quiet and full of love. Mina was proud of her service. She had spent years working with military dogs, training them, caring for them, and learning from them. Bruno and Luna were no ordinary pets, they were special. Both had served alongside Mina in the army. Now, retired from active duty, they were more than just dogs, they were family. Every morning, the small house would fill with the sound of laughter and soft barks. Bruno was a big, strong dog with a calm heart, while Luna was smaller but quick and alert. Mina took great care of both of them, making sure they exercised well and stayed healthy. The dogs loved their daily walks in the quiet neighborhood. Arif and Mina had moved into a lovely home just outside the city. It was a friendly community, and they liked how peaceful it was there. However, there was one group that made their life a little difficult: the Homeowners Association, or HOA. The HOA was a group of neighbors who made the rules about how people should live in the neighborhood. At first, the rules seemed fair, but slowly, they began to feel strict and sometimes unfair. The HOA had many rules about how houses should look, where cars could park, and even how pets should behave. Mina and Arif tried to follow every rule, but sometimes it felt like the HOA was watching them too closely. They didn't want to cause trouble, but they also didn't want to live in fear of someone telling them what to do every day. Despite the tension, Arif and Mina enjoyed their life. Mina often worked on a small garden in the backyard, planting flowers and herbs. Bruno and Luna would sit near her, always alert but relaxed. Arif liked to read books under the big oak tree, sometimes throwing a ball for the dogs to chase. One sunny afternoon, Mina was in the garden, watering her plants, when she heard a soft noise behind the fence. Bruno and Luna immediately stood up, ears pointed and eyes sharp. They knew something was not right. Mina felt a little uneasy but decided to keep working quietly. The HOA members had been watching the family more closely these days. Some of the neighbors were unhappy because Bruno and Luna were bigger dogs, and they worried about safety. This made Mina sad because she knew her dogs were trained to protect, not to harm. One day, the HOA sent a letter asking Mina and Arif to keep the dogs inside the house all the time. They said it was a safety concern for the neighborhood. Mina was upset but tried to stay calm. She knew Bruno and Luna needed space and exercise to stay healthy and happy. Arif suggested they meet with the HOA to talk about their concerns. Mina agreed, hoping to find peace. She believed that if they could explain the dog's training and behavior, the neighbors might understand. But deep down, she worried the meeting wouldn't go well. The next weekend, Arif and Mina prepared for the meeting. Bruno and Luna stayed calm but watched everything carefully. Mina packed some papers that showed the dog's training certificates and medical records. She hoped this would help. The community hall was small and warm. Some neighbors were already there, looking serious. The HOA leaders sat at the front, ready to speak. Arif and Mina felt nervous but stayed confident. They wanted to show that their dogs were safe and friendly. When it was their turn, Mina spoke first. Bruno and Luna have served with me in the military. They are trained to follow commands and protect, but they are gentle with people they know. We understand your concerns, and we want to keep the neighborhood safe too. Some neighbors listened quietly, but others looked doubtful. One person spoke up, saying the dogs were too big and could scare children. Mina understood the worry but tried to explain, Bruno and Luna are trained not to harm. They can sense danger and only act when necessary. Arif added, we will follow any reasonable rules, but we ask for trust and understanding. These dogs are part of our family. The meeting ended with no clear decision. The HOA said they would think about it and get back to them. Arif and Mina left feeling unsure but hopeful. Back home, Mina hugged Bruno and Luna. She whispered, I promise, we will get through this together. The dogs looked at her with eyes full of loyalty and love. They were ready to protect their family, no matter what. That night, the house was quiet except for the soft breathing of Bruno and Luna. Mina and Arif sat together, holding hands, thinking about what the future might bring. They didn't know the challenges ahead, but they knew they would face them as a family. For now, the peaceful days remained. But beneath the calm, something was changing. A test of courage and trust was coming, one that would show just how strong the bond between Mina, Arif, and their dogs truly was. The days after the HOA meeting were filled with quiet worry. Arif and Mina hoped for a peaceful resolution, but the feeling of unease in the neighborhood grew stronger. They continued their daily routines, but a small cloud hung over their happiness. Mina still spent her mornings in the garden with Bruno and Luna by her side. The dogs were calm and gentle, as always, but they seemed to sense something was different. They stayed alert, watching the streets carefully whenever anyone passed by. Bruno's big, steady eyes and Luna's quick movements showed their readiness to protect the family if needed. Arif noticed how Mina's smile was a little softer these days. He wanted to help, but he also felt powerless against the strict HOA rules. One afternoon, while reading near the oak tree, Arif heard a knock on the door. It was Mr. Patel, one of the HOA members. Mr. Patel was a tall man with sharp eyes. He spoke politely but his words were firm. Arif, we need to talk about the dogs again. Several neighbors have called to complain about their size and noise. We want to keep the neighborhood safe and peaceful. Arif nodded, trying to stay calm. I understand, Mr. Patel. Bruno and Luna are trained military dogs. They are calm and follow all commands. We are doing our best to be good neighbors. Mr. Patel looked serious. I know that, but the complaints keep coming. We might need to enforce stricter rules soon. Arif thanked him and closed the door slowly. He felt the weight of the situation growing heavier. When he told Mina, she sighed deeply but tried to remain hopeful. We cannot let fear control us, Mina said softly. Bruno and Luna are part of this family. We will find a way. Despite their hope, the neighborhood seemed less friendly. Some neighbors stopped greeting them on walks. Others whispered behind their backs. The friendly smiles were replaced by cautious glances. One afternoon, while Mina was walking Bruno and Luna near the park, a group of children came running towards them. The dogs stayed calm and sat quietly as the children approached. Mina smiled and said, Bruno and Luna are very gentle. They just want to be friends. The children laughed and petted the dogs. For a moment, everything felt normal and happy. But nearby, a few adults watched with disapproval. Back at home, Mina and Arif talked about how to improve their relationship with the neighbors. They decided to organize a small gathering in their backyard, hoping to show the true nature of Bruno and Luna. With careful planning, they invited a few families to come for tea and snacks. Mina baked cookies while Arif set up chairs and tables outside. Bruno and Luna were calm and well-behaved, sitting quietly next to Mina. The day of the gathering arrived. A few neighbors came, curious to see the dogs up close. Mina introduced Bruno and Luna, explaining their training and gentle nature. She shared stories from her military days, showing how the dogs had helped many people stay safe. Slowly, the neighbors began to relax. They saw how calm and friendly the dogs were. One of the neighbors, Mrs. Khan, smiled and said, "I never knew military dogs could be so gentle. It's good to meet them like this." Mina felt a warm happiness inside. She hoped this would change the neighbors' minds. But even as some hearts softened, the HOA continued to send letters. The latest one asked them to keep the dogs indoors during certain hours. Mina and Arif felt frustrated but decided to follow the rules, hoping it would calm the situation. One evening, while Mina was inside, Bruno and Luna sat by the window, watching the street. The neighborhood looked quiet, but their eyes were alert. They could sense something was wrong. Suddenly, Mina heard a noise outside, a loud shouting from across the street. She rushed to the window and saw a group of people gathered near the park. Her heart beat faster. Bruno and Luna stood up, their training taking over. Mina knew she had to stay calm. She whispered, "Bruno, Luna, stay ready but calm." The dogs listened carefully, their eyes focused on the scene. The shouting grew louder, and Mina felt a chill run down her spine. The peaceful neighborhood was changing. What once was a quiet, friendly place was now filled with tension and fear. Arif came home and found Mina worried. She told him what she saw. They both knew they needed to be ready for whatever might happen next. That night, Mina sat with Bruno and Luna close by. She thought about the bond they shared, the trust and loyalty that ran deeper than words. She knew that no matter what challenges came, their family would face them together. Outside, the stars shone bright, but the darkness in the neighborhood seemed to grow. Mina closed her eyes and prayed for peace for her family, her dogs, and the community they called home. The quiet of the neighborhood was changing, and Mina felt the weight of it every day. Even though she and Arif tried their best to live peacefully, the tension seemed to grow like a storm cloud hanging just out of sight. One morning, Mina woke up early and looked out the window. Bruno and Luna were already waiting by the door, ready for their morning walk. The air was cool and fresh, but Mina noticed a few neighbors watching from behind their curtains. She felt their eyes like silent questions. As they stepped outside, Bruno and Luna walked calmly beside Mina. The dogs were well trained and always under control, but Mina knew some people in the neighborhood were still worried. She wished they could understand the dogs better. While walking down the street, Mina saw Mrs. Sharma, an older woman who lived a few houses away. Mrs. Sharma was known for being kind, and Mina hoped she might be an ally. The older woman smiled warmly when she saw Mina and the dogs. "Good morning, Mina. Bruno, Luna. They look so happy today," Mrs. Sharma said gently. "Good morning, Mrs. Sharma," Mina replied, smiling back. "They're always ready for a walk." Mrs. Sharma nodded. "I've been hearing some things from the other neighbors. It must be hard for you." Mina sighed. "It is. We only want to live peacefully. Bruno and Luna would never harm anyone. They are trained to protect, not to scare." Mrs. Sharma placed a hand on Mina's arm. "Sometimes people fear what they don't understand. But I believe you and your dogs mean no harm." The kind words gave Mina a little hope, but she knew not everyone felt the same. As they continued their walk, Bruno and Luna stayed calm and friendly, wagging their tails at the children playing nearby. Later that afternoon, Mina received a message from the HOA. They wanted to meet again to discuss the ongoing concerns about the dogs. Mina felt her heart sink. It seemed the neighborhood's doubts were not going away. She shared the news with Arif, who nodded thoughtfully. We should go to the meeting. Maybe this time, if we explain everything carefully, they will listen. Mina agreed. We need to show them how well Bruno and Luna behave and how much we care about this community. The evening of the meeting arrived. Arif, Mina, and the dogs went to the community hall, their hearts heavy but hopeful. The room was filled with neighbors, some friendly, some watchful. The HOA leader began speaking. We have heard both sides. There are still concerns about the size and presence of the dogs. We want to find a solution that works for everyone. Mina stepped forward calmly. Bruno and Luna are trained dogs. They are gentle with people, especially children. We want to work with the community, but we ask for trust. To help, Mina showed videos of Bruno and Luna at work during her military service, obedient, calm, and caring. Many people in the room watched quietly, surprised by the dog's discipline and kindness. A few neighbors asked questions. One woman asked, "What if the dogs feel threatened? How do you control them then?" Mina smiled gently. Bruno and Luna are trained to respond only to commands. They do not attack unless given an order. They protect, but they never harm without reason. Slowly, the atmosphere in the room began to change. Some neighbors started to understand the special bond between Mina and her dogs. But then, a new concern was raised, not about the dogs, but about a recent event in the neighborhood. Some people felt unsafe after dark, and the HOA wanted to discuss safety plans. Mina listened carefully. She knew safety was important for everyone. I have an idea, she said. Bruno and Luna can help with neighborhood safety. They are trained to alert us if anything is wrong. We can work together to keep everyone safe. The room grew quiet. Many people thought about the idea. After a moment, the HOA leader nodded slowly. This is something new. We will consider it. As the meeting ended, some neighbors came to talk to Mina and Arif. Mrs. Sharma was among them. Thank you for your patience, she said. I hope this is the start of better days. Arif smiled. We hope so too. We just want to live here in peace, like everyone else. When they returned home, Mina felt a little lighter. The challenges were still there, but maybe, just maybe, things could change. That night, as the family settled in, Bruno and Luna lay quietly at Mina's feet. Their calm presence was a comfort. Mina looked at them and whispered, "Thank you for being strong with me." Outside, the stars shone gently, reminding her that even in dark times, there was hope. Days passed after the community meeting, and Mina felt a small change in the air. Some neighbors started to greet her and Arif more warmly during their walks. Mrs. Sharma often stopped to chat about flowers or the weather, and a few families even asked to meet Bruno and Luna again. Despite these small moments of kindness, the tension in the neighborhood had not disappeared completely. There was still worry about safety, especially after dark. Many people spoke in hushed voices about recent events. A few cars had been broken into, and some families felt uneasy walking alone. Mina and Arif understood these concerns. They too wanted to feel safe in their neighborhood. It was not just about their dogs anymore, it was about everyone. One evening, while Mina was preparing dinner, Bruno suddenly stood up and looked toward the front door. His ears twitched, and his body became alert. Luna joined him, growling softly but firmly, a sound that Mina knew meant they sensed something unusual. Arif was in the living room reading when Mina called him. Something's going on outside. Bruno and Luna are alert. Arif nodded and stood up. The dogs moved to the front window, their eyes fixed outside. Mina slowly walked to the door and peeked out. The street looked quiet, but the dogs did not relax. Suddenly, a shadow moved quickly near the neighbor's house. Bruno barked sharply, and Luna ran to the door, standing ready. Mina's heart raced, but she stayed calm. "Easy, boys," she whispered. Arif grabbed his phone and called the local neighborhood watch group. "There's something suspicious outside. We might need help." Minutes later, a few neighbors arrived, including Mr. Patel and Mrs. Sharma. The group quietly checked the area, and soon, they found some signs of a small break-in attempt on a nearby house. No one was hurt, but the neighbors were shaken. Mina looked at Bruno and Luna with gratitude. Their alertness had helped everyone stay safe. Mr. Patel nodded in approval. "Your dogs really made a difference tonight." After that night, the community's view of Bruno and Luna began to change even more. People saw how helpful the dogs could be, not just to Mina and Arif but to the whole neighborhood. A few days later, the HOA called another meeting. This time, they wanted to discuss a new safety plan that included using Bruno and Luna as part of the neighborhood watch. Mina and Arif were invited to explain how the dogs could help. Mina spoke with confidence. "Bruno and Luna are trained to sense danger and alert us. They can help protect not only our family but everyone here. We want to be part of the solution." Several neighbors asked questions, wanting to know more about how the dogs were trained and how they would be involved. Mina explained patiently, "The dogs respond only to commands and do not act on their own. We will always be with them during patrols, and we will respect everyone's safety." After much discussion, the HOA agreed to a trial period. Bruno and Luna would join the neighborhood watch team, walking with Mina and Arif during evening patrols. That decision brought a wave of relief and hope to Mina and Arif. They felt that their dogs were finally seen for who they truly were, loyal protectors and loving family members. The first patrol was quiet but full of meaning. Bruno and Luna walked calmly beside Mina, alert but gentle. Neighbors watched with smiles, waving as they passed by. Mina felt proud. Her dogs were helping build trust and safety in the neighborhood. For the first time in weeks, she felt a sense of peace. But even with this progress, Mina and Arif knew that not every day would be easy. Fear and misunderstanding could return at any moment. That night, Mina sat quietly with Bruno and Luna by her side. She thought about how much they had all grown, how the family, the dogs, and the community had faced challenges together. She whispered softly to the dogs, "Thank you for being brave, for protecting us all." Bruno wagged his tail, and Luna rested her head on Mina's knee. Their calm and loving presence was a reminder that no matter what came next, they would face it as one family, stronger and united. Outside, the neighborhood lights twinkled gently, and the stars above watched over them all. A new chapter was beginning, one of trust, courage, and hope. Life in the neighborhood began to change slowly but surely. After Bruno and Luna joined the neighborhood watch, more people started to feel safe. Children played outside longer, and neighbors greeted each other with friendly smiles. The quiet fear that once lingered was replaced by a sense of community and trust. Mina and Arif felt hopeful. They had worked hard to show the neighborhood the true nature of their dogs. Bruno and Luna were not just protectors, they were friends, family, and now, symbols of safety. One sunny morning, Mina took Bruno and Luna to the park as usual. The dogs ran happily through the grass, chasing butterflies and playing with children. Mina watched with a warm smile. It felt like things were finally getting better. As Mina sat on a bench, she noticed a young boy sitting alone nearby. His name was Ravi, a shy child who had recently moved into the neighborhood. He seemed nervous around the dogs, watching them with wide eyes. Meena walked over slowly and smiled gently. "Hi Ravi, would you like to pet Bruno and Luna?" The boy hesitated but nodded. Meena called Luna over first. The smaller dog sat quietly, allowing Ravi to reach out his hand and stroke her soft fur. Ravi smiled for the first time in days. "They're nice dogs," he said softly. Meena nodded. "They're very gentle and smart. They only do what they're told." Ravi looked up at her. "Some kids at school said big dogs can be scary. I was afraid." Meena's heart ached. She remembered how fear and misunderstanding had affected her family. "It's okay to feel scared sometimes," she said kindly. "But if you get to know them, you'll see they're kind and protective." Ravi smiled again, a little brighter this time. Meanwhile, in the neighborhood, the HOA was planning a special event, a community picnic to celebrate the progress everyone had made. Meena and Arif were invited, and they happily agreed. The day of the picnic arrived with bright sunshine and laughter. Families gathered in the park with food, games, and music. Bruno and Luna were the stars of the day, walking calmly among the people and making new friends. At one point, a group of children gathered around the dogs, asking questions about their training. Meena explained patiently how Bruno and Luna had helped her during her military service and how they now helped keep the neighborhood safe. The event was a success. Many neighbors approached Meena and Arif with kind words and thanks. Mrs. Sharma smiled warmly and said, "You've done a wonderful job bringing us all together." As the sun began to set, Meena felt grateful. The long journey of fear and doubt was turning into one of understanding and trust. But that night, just as the family was settling down, Meena heard a soft noise outside. Bruno and Luna immediately stood up, alert and focused. Meena's heart quickened. She looked through the window and saw a shadow near their driveway. The dogs growled softly but stayed calm, ready to protect. Arif came to her side, quietly reaching for his phone. "Should I call someone?" he whispered. Meena shook her head. "Let's see what Bruno and Luna do first." The dogs moved slowly toward the door, their eyes never leaving the shadow. Meena stepped outside with them, holding Luna's leash tightly and Bruno walking calmly beside her. The shadow moved closer, and Meena recognized their neighbor, Mr. Das, carrying a large box. He smiled sheepishly. "Sorry if I scared you," Mr. Das said. "I didn't want to ring the bell because the baby is sleeping." Meena laughed softly, relief flooding her. "It's okay, Mr. Das. Bruno and Luna were just making sure everything was safe." Mr. Das patted Bruno's head. "You two are real heroes for this neighborhood." That night, Meena thought about how much trust had grown not just between her family and their dogs, but among the neighbors as well. She realized that fear often comes from the unknown, but kindness and understanding can change everything. Bruno and Luna lay quietly by her side, their calm strength a reminder of the bond they shared. Meena whispered, "We're ready for whatever comes next." Together. Outside, the stars shone brightly, lighting the way for new beginnings and lasting friendships. The neighborhood was slowly healing. The faces that once looked weary now often held warm smiles. Children played freely, and the community felt stronger. Meena and Arif saw this change with quiet happiness. Bruno and Luna had become more than family pets, they were symbols of trust and protection. One Saturday morning, Meena decided to take Bruno and Luna on a longer walk, farther than usual. The sun was bright, and the air was fresh. As they moved through the streets, more neighbors waved or stopped to chat. It felt like a new beginning. When they reached the community garden, Mina noticed a small group gathered around a notice board. Curious, she walked closer. There was a flyer about a local charity event to help children in need. The event needed volunteers to help organize and participate. Mina thought for a moment and then smiled. "This is something we can help with," she said to Arif. Arif nodded. Bruno and Luna could come too. They love meeting new people. They decided to join the charity event the following weekend. Mina contacted the organizers and offered their help. Days passed quickly. On the day of the event, the park was full of families, laughter, and colorful decorations. Mina and Arif set up a booth to share information about Bruno and Luna's training and their role in the neighborhood. Children gathered around, eager to meet the dogs. Bruno and Luna sat calmly, letting the children pet them and ask questions. Mina explained how the dogs were trained to protect but always to be gentle and kind. One little girl named Aisha, shy at first, slowly reached out to touch Luna's soft fur. Mina knelt beside her and said softly, "Luna loves making new friends." Aisha smiled brightly. "I want a dog like Luna someday." The day was filled with happiness and hope. Mina felt proud of how far they had come. Their dogs were helping to bring joy, not fear. As the sun began to set, Mina noticed a man watching quietly from a distance. He looked familiar. It was Mr. Raj, a neighbor who had often been quiet and reserved. Mina walked over and greeted him. "Hello, Mr. Raj. Would you like to meet Bruno and Luna?" Mr. Raj hesitated but smiled. "I've been watching. They're wonderful dogs. You've done a great job." They talked for a few minutes about the neighborhood and how important it was to work together. Just then, a loud sound came from the other side of the park. A child's balloon had popped, startling some of the younger children. Bruno and Luna immediately noticed the sudden noise. Luna softly nudged a little boy to calm him, while Bruno sat quietly nearby, showing his calm presence. Mina realized how much the dogs had learned not just to protect, but to comfort. Their training and love were visible in every gentle move. The event ended with applause and thanks from the organizers. Mina and Arif packed up, feeling hopeful and grateful. That night, as they sat together in their living room, Mina looked at Bruno and Luna with deep affection. "You've helped more than just us," she said softly. "You've helped this whole community." Arif smiled and nodded. "You're right. Together, we made a difference." But the next morning brought an unexpected surprise. The HOA sent a letter inviting Mina and Arif to a special meeting, this time to recognize their positive contribution to the neighborhood. At the meeting, the HOA president stood and spoke clearly. "We want to thank Mina and Arif for their hard work and dedication. Bruno and Luna have shown us that understanding and kindness can change fears into friendship." The room filled with applause. Some neighbors came forward to shake hands and express their gratitude. Mina felt tears of joy in her eyes. It had been a long journey, but the family's patience, courage, and love had finally brought peace and acceptance. On their way home, Arif looked at Mina and said, "This is only the beginning. We can help this neighborhood grow stronger." Mina smiled. "Yes, and with Bruno and Luna by our side, I know we can face anything." As they walked, Bruno and Luna led the way, their tails wagging happily. The future looked bright, a future built on trust, friendship, and hope. The sun rose gently over the neighborhood, casting warm light on the quiet streets. Mina stood by the window, looking out with a peaceful smile. The journey had been long and difficult, but now, things felt right. Bruno and Luna lay calmly at her feet, their soft breathing steady and comforting. Mina reached down to gently stroke their fur. They were more than dogs to her, they were family, her protectors, and her friends. The recent weeks had brought hope and healing to the community. The neighbors who once watched with doubt now waved warmly. Children played freely in the park, and families gathered for picnics and celebrations. The neighborhood was changing for the better. Arif joined Mina by the window, wrapping his arm around her shoulders. "It feels like home again," he said softly. Mina nodded. "Yes. We've come so far. Thanks to everyone who chose to understand instead of fear." That day, the neighborhood was preparing for a special event, a celebration of community and friendship. The HOA had organized a neighbor day to honor the courage and kindness that had brought them all closer. Mina and Arif were invited as special guests. Bruno and Luna, calm and proud, walked beside them. The air was filled with laughter, music, and the smell of fresh flowers. Families shared stories, children played games, and neighbors exchanged warm greetings. Mina noticed how many faces shone with genuine happiness. It was a day to remember. During the event, the HOA president took the stage. "Today, we celebrate more than just a neighborhood. We celebrate the strength found in kindness, trust, and community. Mina and Arif, along with Bruno and Luna, have shown us that fear can be replaced with understanding." The crowd applauded, and Mina felt tears of joy. She looked at Arif, who smiled proudly. Later, Mrs. Sharma approached them, her eyes shining. "Thank you for never giving up. You brought us together." Mina smiled warmly. "We couldn't have done it without all of you." As the day turned to evening, the community gathered around a bonfire. Stories were shared, and songs were sung. Bruno and Luna lay nearby, relaxed and content. Mina thought about the path they had traveled from the first tense days to this moment of peace. She remembered the fear, the doubts, and the struggles. But most of all, she remembered the courage it took to keep believing. That night, as the stars twinkled above, Mina whispered softly, "This is just the beginning. Together, we will keep building a better tomorrow." Arif nodded. "With love and trust, anything is possible." Bruno and Luna looked up, their eyes shining with loyalty and love. They were ready for whatever came next, standing strong beside their family. The neighborhood was no longer just a place to live, it was a home, full of hope, friendship, and new beginnings.